Ora, o nosso próximo orador, então, está a viver em Portugal desde 2013, vai fazer o seu talk em inglês, tendo como base o propósito de ter um admin do WordPress mais simples e intuitivo, e vai falar, acerca desse tema, vai falar sobre temas, criação de postar, taxonomias e tudo isso, vai ser uma apresentação muito interessante. So, our next guest will be talking on how to create a simpler and more intuitive admin UI. I thought the current admin UI was supposed to be user-friendly already, but apparently not. And of course, if your background is in branding and marketing, you probably agree with Alexander. I don't think I asked you how to pronounce your last name.
Pichugin.
É difícil. That's very, very beautiful. So, Alexander, but let's see what Alexander has to tell us about it. You're the head.
Okay. Okay, good morning everyone. I hope you're awake after the first talk. And I will be talking about the interfaces and using WordPress as the CMF, the management framework. It means that we're not talking about the blogs, it's more about B2B or business websites, and that's why I'm talking about approach and the rules, how to create the, let's say, easy to use interface for the final user, which is not you as a developer, which is your most probably client. So, are there any agency owners or business owners? Okay, cool. And are there any content managers that are doing with the main WordPress installations dealing? And do you like all the installations equally, or do you prefer some? Okay. So we need to define what is a good user interface and what makes it good. And there is a definition about the good interface that allows the user to do the things both efficiently and effectively. You know the difference, by the way. Everyone knows. It's not so obvious. And without distraction. And there are 3 golden rules of the good interface. They all defined pretty well in the many talks, and I a bit changed the words of them and adapted for the modern world. And the first one is the reduced cognitive load. That means you probably know the definition, don't make people think, which comes from the Steve Crook book, Don't Make Me Think. And that basically means that if you doing something that cause people to struggle, they will most likely leave, hate, or whatever. They will not be satisfied. And if there is no cognitive tension, if there is no way to struggle with your interface, people will be more satisfied. And there is a good example, not from the digital interfaces. Imagine your interaction with a bank. What is the good interaction with a bank? It's something that doesn't cause you any errors, struggles, and you don't get into the holidays with a blocked card because of the ban. So that's a good user experience, and it's a good communication interface, whatever we call it. And the second rule is make everything, in this case interface, consistent. That means everything stays in the same place all the time, and also it is obvious where we can find things. And in terms of the business websites interfaces, that means that your content manager, owner of the website, will be able to find anything in the admin area easily. So, like, we have a blog, news, team, contacts on the front end, and basically the ideal situation will be to create the same structure on the back end, or to use front-end editor, which is doubtful thing sometimes. And the third thing is keys. Everyone knows what is keys.
Keep it simple, stupid.
No, it's not Virginish. Okay, and very important thing, keep it simple and stupid not only applies to your user, and also applies to you as a developer. Do not over-exaggerate things where it's not necessary. Keep it simple, keep it useful, make it really like straightforward. Be keys, not hard one. And I will show you some examples. That's basically I, as a developer, got into WordPress like 7 or 6 years ago. Before that, I was working with the UX design, front-end development, and so on. And then I discovered WordPress. At that time, there were no like page builders; they were just emerging. There were no really easy to use custom meta fields plugins. So that is a bit dumb example, I would say, for nowadays. I remember it's quite like 6 years old. It's a single page website, right? So basically, what do you think you would do to make that thing in terms of the interface? And there are principles that I mentioned that I have applied here. First of all the sections are in the sections custom post type, and we can rearrange them. For example, and it will change there, of course. And that's what the part of the keeping it simple, right? And also, for example, the services are just having, remember that's like the really old thing. Don't think that is a great interface, that's just the first implication of the principles. But, for example, here are the products, right, that we see here. And each product have a custom meta boxes which were made basically in the functions. And that's the thing which I consider like more useful because we have the atomic information that is displayed on the front end, and it is more or less consistent here, and it's the same consistent and atomic in the admin area. So you don't have a block which will break the things out, and you don't have page builders which generating basically a lot of unnecessary code in the most cases. So that's the first example, remember. Then now I should apologize because the rest of examples will be in advanced, will be in Russian, but you don't need to read the text. You just need to see the image and to see the stuff on the front end in that case. There was an MVP startup for like the aggregator of hotels in different places, and at that point it's very important what was referred about the custom pages, taxonomies, and so on. When we start to think about such type of website in terms of the informational architecture, we need to define which things will be our custom posts. Like in that case, there are articles, there are they call it cards, which basically means the hotel card, and there are custom landings for the, let's say, special projects. And I will show you an example of the article. That's the article page. It is Google translated, so don't be scared. And it's pretty huge, and I want you to think about how you would make a thing like that 4 years ago. It basically looks like, more or less, just a plain content area, right? But have you noticed one thing? have you noted one thing? That's here are the sections which are definition of those sections. And basically, when you click on them, it's like the modern media approach. When you click on them, you get to straight to the point. And those things are also highlighted on the front end. So you basically cannot grab them from the content. You should define them as atomic pieces. And when it comes to the backend part, it has the same structure with atomic pieces. We only have a definition here, like the excerpt. Then we have show it on the main page, the icon. You might see that on the front end. And then a lot of things which define the article. And going back. Here, that is made with the flexible and repeated fields. That means that you can at any time edit any type of the content in any place, rearrange them, switch them, and basically change the stuff. So I'll show you. Okay, yeah. So here, those things, those titles are going from here, and here is the content. Like here is the excerpt that we have seen on top. Here is that content. Here is the gallery, and each gallery piece have a description, and that implies the total custom front-end team, of course, and the custom flexible admin area. And here it's important to understand that this will be supported by real people, and it might seem like a bit too complicated, but the thing is, the atomic pieces of the information that we are able to rearrange and people are able to maintain them easily and consistently are in fact saving time for the businesses, because if the interface is like badly made, then on each edit, on each new article edition, people will spend like 5, 10, 15 minutes extra, and that will cost you money or time or whatever. Another example displays the other approach. Here's the wedding website, and the thing is, here the content is also pretty like magazine, in a magazine style, with a lot of graphics and with some custom things, and as you see, the image is also customly masked. And here is the demonstration of the other thing. Don't make a cognitive load for your user, because in that case, the person that maintains that website is absolutely like no tech in any way, and that's why this interface uses a lot of the WordPress core functionality. Like everything that you have seen there with the complex galleries on the full screen are using basically the default WordPress gallery shortcode, and the images are automatically cropped, automatically placed into the place, and so on. And the most beautiful thing here is the code that you make to make a front-end part. Imagine, that is the archive of the all weddings, all projects. You see there's like 20, 30 lines of code. And it is the code of the single page that you have seen with all those. I will show it in more details. Here we have like all those things, all those atomic pieces, right? Are basically, and here are the galleries, like stuff like that, and here's the editor. So this is all atomized and is maintained to be as simple as possible for the final user, which is not expert at all, and which have a bit of experience, with the default WordPress functionality with the blog posts, and that's why it is maintained to represent his experience, his life. And here is what we see, which is totally custom on the front end part, right? So one more example. Are you still awake? Is it interesting at all? And okay, that last example is the most complex by now, I think, and it represents the, let's say, the landing page for the particular single event of the cultural and artistic venue in the center of Moscow, and that requires not scrolling in the presentation but showing you on the live website. Here's the thing, how it looks like on the web, and it is Google translated for your convenience, so you can see the things. And here you see a lot of custom stuff, like it's like a magazine, ready-made layout and whatever, right? And how do we deal with that? And also there are related items from the WooCommerce store. How do we deal with that, basically, right? And also it implies the custom fields, custom posts with custom taxonomies. Here we have a taxonomy defining the type of the event, which will be displayed, of course, on the front end, and which will be used for the filtering on top of the things. If here we go, there is a filters for all type of events, and you just choose it here, not like in the overwhelmingly thing, and you define that person could select only one thing, because you cannot have the single event, which will be the concert and the lecture at the same time, and with any custom taxonomy, you by default able to select several values for the taxonomy. And there is also a great and very useful multilingual theme. I wouldn't touch it in details by now, because but it's an important thing about how to make easy to use multilingual website. Just a button which switches basically all the content, which does require translation, but does not switch the things that does not require translation. Here's the days, the definition if it's 1 day or several days, and the type of the event. They are not switched. The images are not switched. They are maintained. And here, the example, we can change what you have seen there, the backgrounds. We can change if it is the event with the proper landing page or not, and all the things that you have seen there of the like magazine and ready-made type of layout. You can see it here. You can basically edit anything. Like there are predefined pieces. You can make whatever you want. How many you want from them. Like that depends from design more than from the admin interface. And here also we were trying to adopt how it was represented on the front end. Like if you have an image on the right, title on top and description of the image, and that layout in front, then we will represent the same thing on the back end. And there is another type on the image on the left, then we switch it. It's basically like the rules, what I've been saying about the consistency. If people choosing like, I want a blog with the image on the left, it will appear with the image on the left. It's so like obvious thing, but it's important to not forget about that and to consider that all. And of course, most important thing that I wanted to tell about those things in this approach. You can make it all, that's like the greatest thing, you can make it all using only on WordPress core functionality. You will struggle a bit with the custom fields. I mean, it's tedious work. You basically will struggle one time making and understanding custom post types and custom taxonomies, but at the end, the reward is like great because you can make any kind of things and then you can apply on the front end complex filters. You can do whatever you want with the custom taxonomies, like you can create the versatile events calendars. You can create, for example, there was an example of creating the event booking calendar with the booking form with the several dates, several time slots, all made on the WordPress with the REST API and represented with the custom posts with custom taxonomies. And I was using ACF Pro, which is basically ease your life drastically. It allows you to create those repeater fields, and that is called flexible fields. Means that you make as many blocks as you want and choose the layout type, what I've been showing you. The type of those layouts, they are called flexible fields. So that's basically it about this approach. I was trying to get into 20 minutes, so I didn't get into much details. So if you have more questions about the approach, about how to make those things easy, to ease your life, to ease your customer's life, and so on, please feel free to contact me. And don't forget that if you make the interface which is useful and easy to use, you won't be contacted in 3 years. Like, you made a website, can you change those things for me? I don't understand a thing here. So that's a valuable thing, I believe. Right?
Okay. Thank you very much.
So please, if there are any questions.
Yes, we have time for one question.
For one?
Yes.
Okay. Everyone's still
One at a
sleeping.
time.
I can ask something.
Yeah.
Do you in all your projects, do you take in account what the level of your client, of the level of knowledge your client has, so you can accommodate your interface to the client,
To the particular
or
client.
you just go always just as simple as possible?
That's like both things, because it's a great question, because I was referring that there was a project which required a lot more coding work to alter the default WordPress functionality, like the shortcuts and display of those things, which could be made easier with the atomic approach of the ACF, but it was made that way with the focus on the client, on the end user, and that was it. I was saying in the very beginning, focus on the end user, because you basically would not want to get back to old code in like 5 years, and those websites are working for this time. And let's get back just for a little bit for the slide. I think maybe someone want to recall it and take notes. So consistency means the overall information structure and the approach that you take minds the structure of the interface and information. Reduced cognitive flow means that you are thinking about your user. If you will maintain your own blog, you can do whatever you want. If you are focusing on the expert content manager, you can do more complex things and agree with them, but that's it, like that might be faulty road, because if you give a lot of complexity of flexibility to the interface, at some point it will break, always, because people are breaking things. And keep it simple and stupid applies for you as well. I mean, don't overcomplicate. That's it. Like, if things could be made in a simple way that would not interfere, would not break, make it that way. That's it.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.